Shalom Rastafari, and this is your brother Wyndham Baruku. Yes, I give thanks and praises to the Almighty. QEDAMAWI, HAILE SELASSIE, the King of Kings, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. And I don't know if many of ones know that actually one of His Imperial Majesty's titles is the King of Zion. And there's been a lot of speech about Egypt and everything like that. If we come to the reality of the whole situation, and you can see it in the natural application, what ancient Egypt used to be, as far as from a racial perspective, you know what I mean? What ancient Egypt used to be as far as black people, that it is not no more. It was turned into it's just like the United States, you know, like the United States used to belong to black and brown people. In that sense, it became colonized and basically eradicated, and it was taken over by other peoples. And there was a reason for that, and the Bible basically lets us know that. But in this video, I do want to continue on the ancient Egypt aspect and basically continue on with that last verse from that video. Though this video was really not for that in that sense. The last verse about the wife, and we'll get there. But in this video basically we want to speak about human rights. And one of the things that if anything that held the power for the sovereign, the people of the King of Kings, is the works of the King of Kings and the accomplishments of the King of Kings, and also the witness and the testimony of the world that the King of Kings is who he is, and that the oncoming generation was coming in his place to still carry on those duties or those things that had to be done that were established in his order. And we give thanks and praises that. And the King of Kings himself, Elohim himself, the Father, testifies to the Son, Jesus Christos, Jesus Christ. We know he is the truth. And then we also know about the images that they speak of, like you know how ones have the opposite image, and what happened with that. You know what I mean? What happened with the opposite of the images? There was a situation where this was basically, you know, and we learned this from the elders, and we give thanks, especially for the Rebbe. We still give a shout out to Rastafari, Sabbath Dickel, and the brothers and sisters holding up the radio. You know, Rastafari Radio, Discipleship Radio, with a 0 you know, Discipleship Radio, you know, and we give thanks and praises for that, for the brothers and the sisters, for the Rebbe, Sister Mariama Tanae on the Women's Wednesday. We give a shout out for that, and the brother Lidjif on Rastafari on the brink, and what he was speaking about in this vid. We give thanks, brother, you know, because this is very important, concerning especially human rights, you know, the poverty and the suffering in the world. And yes, the eye, you know, not want to turn a blind eye to the whole Notre Dame, but check the brother out on Rastafari on the brink. It's the brother Lidjif. He's done many works. Rastafari Renaissance. The brother Wyndham Ayason with Rastafari Midrashim. And the I-Team, the RSC, the Rastafari South Committee on the Facebook. The brothers and sisters, I give thanks. Ras Kinani and his sister wife, Ihik Kodesh. Yes, I pronounced her name correctly, because you know those Kodeshes, the Kodesh, Ihik Kadesh. I think it's Kadesh. You know, because the Holy of Holies is the Kodesh. You know, but just to pronounce the brother, give a shout out to the brother and the sister wife. Yes, and give thanks for the works, and the brother, the second ambassador of the RSC, the brother Wyndham Abesalom, you know, and all the brothers in their works. We give thanks, you know. Many of the brothers out there in all their works. There's so many shout outs to give. And yes, I didn't want to on this broadcast, on this vid. We didn't want to turn a blind eye to the Notre Dame situation, the yellow vest protesters, you know. And that's interesting because that's a uniform, that's a work uniform, you know. And so it brought I to look up actually this Torah portion. And I give thanks for the brothers and sisters who are mentioning the people's human rights, because this was really what the importance of what was going on. So while the people be sidetracked about ancient Egypt and everything like that, we, in the name of Jesus Christos, we like to exercise the power of Christ that Christ gave us. You know what I mean? That he gave I, you know, the sovereign king, basically set his children free already with what he had established for us concerning him sending his ambassador, Dr. Malaku Eban. And we give thanks to the brothers and sisters. The Rebbe had a vid on the Rastafari sabbatical on the YouTubes. It was, does anybody remember Dr. Malaku Eban and concerning the Ethiopian World Federation, concerning we the black peoples of the world? Very, very important. You know, very, very important. And also in that template, being that people coming in the name of Christ, Rastafari, making the UN get on their job, being that Ethiopia is the 73rd nation to enter into the United Nations, you know, and that backup plan, all the black and brown the Israel nationalities spread out the world that didn't know that they had an ancient history or a legacy or a name of who they are and how they got lost in translation, or, you know, colonialism or enslavement in the many different areas that the devil has fought righteousness, you know, coming from HaElohim, or the righteousness that was instituted in the original order and what was made up and put into the law. But this right here, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was a result of like a judgment. And there's one interesting thing that I remember we were reading in the Schofield Study Bible. If you look in the notes on the Schofield, what's this right here? Okay, this is a Notre Dame thing. It's in Amarinia. But let us quiet that for one moment. Yeah, let us quiet that for a moment. It's pretty cool vid though. We were watching there. I like the beginning, the interface, you know, the phoneme, like in this Torah portion, the inner, you know, the inner court, the interface, you know. The I will go there in a moment, but yes, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, being that this was something that came about because of the result of the United Nations not listening to His Imperial Majesty QEDAMAWI Haile Selassie, the conquering line of the tribe of Judah, when Ethiopia was attacked, or a basically war crime had went on, and Holy Ethiopia, Imperial Ethiopia, was attacked a year after the coronation of His Imperial Majesty QEDAMAWI Haile Selassie, if it was a year. And that's another very interesting thing right there. The world testifying to the coronation of the King of Kings and the Duke of Gloucester, bringing the scepter to His Imperial Majesty. Very important when we look at the situation what happened in Notre Dame with the fire at the church, and that it was said over here that this cross was one of the items that didn't get burnt up in the you know, in that fire. It said this cross right here was one of the items that didn't get burnt up. You know, give thanks and praises. It's a picture of His Majesty right there on the right, our kinsman redeemer. You know, our national liberator, our liberator, you know, in spirit and truth, you know. Christ, you know, over. Christ over Satan, you know what I mean? Yes, I getting behind the eye. So, you know, and the importance of this is that the people know their rights and start off, you know, a good start would be with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You know what I mean? On that level, all of us coming together, the respective, whatever you want to call yourself, nationally, sovereignly coming in the name of the King of Kings, in spirit and truth. We will hope that we gotta hope that it will hold weight with the Spirit, the Father, you know, with the Spirit, with the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, those three in essence, or the way that they would handle things. Whatever you're doing that you claim to be, if you're gonna put it on paper, if you don't want to listen properly, that the elders speak to the eye, the true Rastafari elders in Christ, that they speak to the eye on how to go about that, as far as one's name change and what one calls themselves and the recognition of coming to that point, you know. So again, in this vid, recognizing workers' rights and recognizing human rights, you know, because you have people, humanity out there working and suffering at systematic conditions where the system is greedy. The system is greedy and the people suffer. They work harder. They try not to give them the retirement and the Social Security and all these things that they need. And they do what they can to try to take that. So the people's job is to power up in your rights. You know what I mean? Power up in one's rights and what was given to us in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was like a judgment, because there was a note in the Schofield